Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Freaky Friday. I was wrong yesterday that this is not 1977, the 1977 version. That's what my list said for some reason. This is 1976. It's an hour and 38 minutes long. It stars Barbara Harris and Jodie Foster switching bodies, mother and daughter. This, as far as I know, this is the first film version of it, at least under Disney. I imagine it's not something anybody's done before this point. There's been other ones since with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan, and another one I think they did directly on the Disney Channel that we watched already in this series way back. So the only Freaky Friday we have left is the Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis one. We'll get to that. But until then, we're going to talk about this one. This is so 70s. Just so absolutely 70s. And obviously, if you don't know the premise of Freaky Friday by now, I'll tell it to you. I'll mansplain it to you, I guess. I don't know. That's what I'm here for, to explain what these things are about. It's a body swap fish out of water story, which Disney does a lot of. Fish out of water, not so much the body swap. But yeah, it's a daughter, 13, sort of unruly, got braces, she's kind of tomboyish, and she's very messy. She's not very girly like her mom. Her mom's very proper and seems to have it all together, and smart and proper. She's gorgeous, by the way. I think I got a crush on Barbara Harris watching this movie. She plays, stiff, very uppity, but at the same time, she also plays the teenage girl trapped in her body role very well, because she's hilarious in the just awkward putting on makeup and then trying to, honestly, it doesn't make sense to me that if you just swap bodies and you're at home and you're an adult and you can do whatever you want, the first thing isn't going to be like doing laundry, even though your husband or dad, that, by the way, that comes into play way too many times, where each of them accidentally calls dad by his first name or daddy in the absolutely most inappropriate moments. So because they kind of screw it up, it confuses everybody else around them. But yeah, it's she's great as she's trying to take control of the house as everything goes wrong. These fish out of water body swap things are supposed to, teach us a lesson about how what our parents deal with when we were kids, or what the kids deal with as we are all grown up and we don't understand what the kids are going through at school and things like that. And yeah, that's the whole premise. But for the most part, usually there's a reason, like there's some sort of weird talisman or some sort of magical thing that comes in their lives that makes this body swap happen. Nothing like that happens. They literally, at the same moment, miles apart from each other, go, or is it miles? Yeah, they're miles apart from each other. They're in totally different places. They just go, I wish I was her, or I wish she could see what I am. I don't know what the phrase is, but they say the same exact phrase at the same exact time, and out of nowhere, no reason, they swap bodies. And yes, they're disoriented for a moment, but after a while, they're just sort of like, okay, this is what things are. We're not worried about how we're gonna get back to our proper bodies. If this is permanent, there's no concern whatsoever. There's no overriding tension, and they make very little effort to get in touch with each other to go, hey, what's going on? Like, mom checks in with daughter to say but through their dad, through dad and husband, and who plays dad, I will tell you very soon, but we'll hold off on that in a minute. They go through dad, and is mom acting weird, and he's like, yeah, she is weird, but then they hang up, and she's like, okay, well, it's obvious we swap bodies, because that's a thing that happens all the time. We're just gonna go on with my day like this, because school can't be that hard. It's just, it's just school. never mind that this girl, even though Jodie Foster's character, Annabelle, is a complete sort of slacker in a term that will be created a few decades later. Maybe. I don't know when the slacker started. Either way, she... Oh no! Hey, from the 50s, didn't the teacher, the principal from Back to the Future, always call McFly a slacker? Yeah, okay, that's been around for a while. Anyway, things of course go crazy at home as Annabelle is in her mom's body, and everybody shows up at the same time as they're preparing for a big presentation for Dad. Dad has a big business deal he needs to close, and they have to be at the marina. They're launching a marina kind of thing. It's overly complicated, and it's the impetus for so many different things that they need to go through in order to reach this final moment. But it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. They just sort of drop a whole lot of stuff by the wayside. She needs to cook food. She needs to get rid of the dog. So when people come over later, people never come over, by the way. She needs to wash all the clothing. So she just throws everything in the washer and bubbles are everywhere. And the teenage boy that Annabelle has a crush on, she invites over to the house to help out, to help feed the dog, or I don't know. But she flirts with him in her mom's body, and he doesn't really realize it, but he also realizes he wishes he was 20 years older. And he literally confesses that to her after teaching her how to use a boomerang. Yes, that's an actual scene. Like, here, he puts his arm around this older woman, and then he shows her how to swing the boomerang. And then she gets frustrated that he doesn't really appreciate Annabelle, even though she's Annabelle, but in her, you know how it works. And so she gets petulant at his responses about Annabelle, as Annabelle in her mom's body tries to pitch a better Annabelle. Okay. Anyway, meanwhile at school, Mom has to, by the way, Mrs. Andrews is her credit name. We're going to call her Mom. Mom in Annabelle's body has to do school things, and she calls everybody young man. You know, all the boys are like harassing her, and she calls them out as an adult would, you know. And she goes into class and she knows the Korean War history back and forth, no problem. I mean, you know, and her friends are like, who are you? You're so weird. Everything's different. And then, like, everybody's hating her because she's smart. She doesn't understand how to use a typewriter. Well, she thinks she does, but then she finds out that they're electric typewriters of the future. And she doesn't understand how an electric typewriter works because she doesn't know how to turn it on to make it work. And everything goes haywire. And then there's a field hockey tournament that she needs to win, and she doesn't know how to play field hockey. Yeah, then you know, it's that physical challenge kind of portion of the body swap thing. You know, Mom has to, you know, the adult has to learn how to play with the kids and survive, even though Annabelle is the best player on that team, and every kid on the other team is out to get her because that's what the coach wants, because they know that she kicks butt. So the Mom in Annabelle's body gets her butt handed to her left and right, even more so than anybody else would. So that ups the game. Oh, by the way, Annabelle also is an expert water skier. That comes into play later. Anyway, I didn't want to ruin the ending at all, but I mean, the movie is, 45 years old? Yeah, 44 years old. You know how these things work out. Obviously, they switch back. They learn a lesson about each other's lives, but how they get there is astounding. Of course, Mom in Annabelle's body needs to get to the marina for the big event to be by her husband's side, But Annabelle doesn't know how to drive in mom's body or anybody's body because she's 13. And so what follows is her putting her hands over her eyes and then pushing in reverse, crashing through a fence, and making somebody else having a party and pushing all these people into the pool. It's comedy. And then she goes forward and they speed up the film to make it look like she's driving really fast and recklessly. So while when Annabelle in mom's body is driving her little brother, son, and the boy crush in a Volkswagen to the marina, mom in Annabelle's body is expected to do special stunts, and she's the best water skier in the state or something. I don't know. Anyway. So husband, forces her out into, even though she's already in the costume and everything else, she still says, I don't want to do this. I can't do this. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna break all my legs. And he tricks her into taking the grip and makes the boat speed away, and she gets yanked out in the water, going, yeah, you're just being silly. Do your water thing. And what follows in this big third act finale, in lieu of story, in lieu of character development, in lieu of a ticking clock where they're like, oh my God, like in other films when you have this kind of thing, if we don't get the amulet to the idol by midnight, then we'll just be stuck like this forever. That kind of thing, that ticking clock. They don't have a ticking clock. This whole thing is just outright stunts and bad special effects. Like anytime anybody is holding the rope for water skiing. By the way, water skiing was a huge in the 70s. That's why Fonzie jumped a shark. 70s and 80s, water skiing was huge. I even water skied when I was a kid. That's how crazy everybody was for water skiing. I water skied. I am not athletic, but I loved the water ski. When I was like elementary school in water skiing. So anyway, enough about me. The point is that whenever they do a water ski thing, it's an obviously bad rear projection screen while they're pretending, on a sound stage, pretending to be on the water. It's really bad. It's really super obviously bad. But while that's happening, Annabelle as mom is driving a car crazy, like just all over the place, and cops are chasing her. And it's shot in California, it looks like, and it's in North Hollywood, maybe Burbank, Glendale area. So there's like the water, they use the waterways, and they stuff along the 5 and things like that. As people who are not from California won't understand what I'm talking about, but those who do will. They chase them down over bridges that police cars then, like the Volkswagen fits through, but the police cars don't. One crashes in, and another police car climbs over the other police car and drives along the sides of the bridge while people are hanging for their lives because they really got to catch this reckless driver. And at some point they get down into the river basin where it's not wet, but it's made to handle that kind of thing if it ever rains. And like there's a point where a car goes down a tunnel and it gets really, really small, like almost like a triangle. A Volkswagen would fit. But in this case, the car comes out in it becomes a triangle, and the two cops in there, like, their heads against each other. It's like really silly physical comedy. It turns into a cartoon chase. It's a Roadrunner and Coyote thing for no reason whatsoever. There's a point where there's a split in the river thing, the river basin, and the Volkswagen makes a quick right. The cops go straight towards the point that's coming right at them, and the car easily gets sliced in half with one cop going on one side, one cop going in that police car on the other side. It makes no sense. It's so cartoony. It has nothing to do with anything else that's going on in the film. There's no weird magic that's following them around that's causing all this shenanigans. It is just weird. It's funny. It's cute. I thought for sure that I'd seen this before, and I don't remember any of this. Maybe my memory was erased, but it's the kind of thing I would have seen as a kid, and I don't remember any of it. So I'm going to have to mark this as having not seen it before. Anyway, all of this to tell you, you know how it's going to end up. You know, and although I have to admit, they did take a twist during this big final chase scene that I didn't see coming. There was an actual character-based twist when, you know, you figure that they're going to try to see what they can do to switch back. What can they do to switch back? Well, they switch, but not in a way you expect. Not in a way I expected anyway. So, good for them. I can say that I really enjoyed this, but one of the things I enjoyed most about this, in which I have to get in here, beyond the fact that Jodie Foster is in this, who's a big superstar director, actress, and the movie she made before this was Taxi Driver, so it's day and night when it comes to her resume at this point in her life, in her very young life. You have to look at this cast. This is iconic, or pop culture iconic anyway, actors from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I'm going to go through this list. I have IMDb up, and I have to just show you. Patsy Kelly, she's best known for, she plays the maid who's kind of racist, I think, and is really angry all the time, and she's not helpful to them. But Mrs. Schmaus, Schmaus, whatever. She was in Rosemary's Baby. That's one thing. That's a minor thing. Dick Van Patten plays one of the business partners of the dad. And that's, 8 is enough. Dick Van Patten is iconic. He's also all over a ton of different Disney movies. But the dad is played by John Astin. John Astin, as you would know, is Gomez Addams from the Addams Family. Looking nothing like Gomez, but you know it's him. One of the other... Oh, the principal for the school that Annabelle as mom has to go meet with because Annabelle's acting weird. It's Boss Hogg. It's Boss Hogg from the Dukes of Hazzard. Sorrel Book plays Mr. Dilk. One of the other business guys that Dad's trying to impress is Alan Oppenheimer. He's done the voice of Skeletor. He's done a bunch of He-Man characters. He was also in the original Westworld movie. He's done a ton of voiceover stuff. But yeah, one of the opposing coach during the field hockey thing is Ruth Buzzy. Come on, iconic comedic legend. And the coach for the team that Jodie Foster's on is Kay Ballard. Okay? These are names that some of you may not recognize at all, but if you look them up, people who are my age, okay, and who knows who's really watching these things, especially when it comes to Freaky Friday, you might if you're my age and you recognize these names, and you'd be like, oh my gosh, I need to watch this again, and you should, because there's a ton of faces in this. Okay, Mark Mcclure. That is not a name most of you will recognize at all, but when I tell you what he's been in, you will. Mark Mcclure plays Boris, the boy that Annabelle has a crush on across the street. And I looked at this guy, I'm like, I know who he is. I can't figure out from where. He was Jimmy Olsen in the Superman movies, the Christopher Reeve Superman movies. Jimmy Olsen. And also Dave, the older brother of Marty McFly in Back to the Future. The one fading away, the oldest one fading away. It's like these weird little connections. There's a bunch more of the... Oh, Al Molinaro, he has a little cameo as a drapery man who shows up at the most inopportune time. That's Al from Happy Days, the guy who owned the restaurant that everybody hung out at. There's a bunch of little bit parts throughout this, but for me, just seeing another face every 5 minutes that I recognize from my childhood from television, that was honestly worth the price of admission, which I didn't pay for. Well, I did last year at D23, but it's worth the price of admission for watching this if you're my age or around my age. If you know what Happy Days, if you watched Happy Days when it first aired, yes, we're about the same age, okay? That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to tell you my age. I'm very vain. All right. Anyway, that's Freaky Friday, the 1976 version, and I enjoyed it. It's not the greatest film by any means, and it makes absolutely no sense in how it reaches its final conclusion. But I will tell you that it's a fun, nice 70s throwback, and Jodie Foster, and especially the mom. I just forgot her name. Dang it. Go back. I can't do her justice if I don't say her name. Barbara Harris and Jodie Foster are just fantastic as each other in this movie. So it's worth the time on Disney Plus. Check it out. Let's check out what we have for tomorrow. 4:35. Feels familiar, but I say that all the time. 4:35. Yep, we already had this one. 4:35 was something. Pocahontas. There we go, Pocahontas. Yep. Sorry. Let's pick another one. 6:17. This also feels familiar. 6:17. Oh, we did not have this. This is a 2000 film. From 2000. I don't know what this is. I have a feeling it has to do with baseball. It sounds familiar. But it's The Kid. The Kid. On the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. So I'll meet you back here tomorrow. We'll have watched The Kid by then. All right. See you back here tomorrow. Bye.